Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Matthew Peterson, and coming up on today's show, we're going to look at some post-June 1st trade rumors because that's an important date in the NFL schedule. That's when a lot of contracts can be moved in and out of, so you could see some activity after June 1st. So, one name that could be leaving mile high after the first day of June. What about your starting right guard, Graham Glasgow? Now, rumors have surrounded him this entire offseason. The Broncos may be looking to move on from him. They like Muti. They like Miners, right? They've got some good pieces behind him in the depth chart. Now, unfortunately for Glasgow, he suffered that season-ending ankle injury in Week 7 down in Dallas against the Cowboys. What an ass-kicking that was. We all remember that. Now, there's some savings to be made with a post-6-1 trade. Here's what the numbers look like, the finances. This is literally sex to GMs. $3 million in dead cap this year, $3 million in dead cap in 2023, and a savings of $3.2 million for this upcoming season. It's not too shabby for a player that's coming off an ankle injury, and you've already got you just like what you see in Quinn Miners, and you're trying to find a spot for him to take the field. So, Pro Football Focus grades Glasgow at a 47 out of 82 for 2021. He only played, a little less than half of a season, so it's a rough look at it. 65.1 overall. Middle of the pack, it's not bad right there. It really isn't. Is it maybe where you hoped it would be after signing him from Detroit? Not exactly, but he also had an ankle injury, right? At ended his season, cut it short. Not something he can control. So I guess I'll open this up to the floor. Let you guys weigh in on this. Should the Broncos go out and trade Graham? T for trade or P for pass if you're like, you know what, Matthew? You just got Russell Wilson. Why are we trading starting offensive linemen? That doesn't make sense to me. I can understand that. The only way I see this really happening is if George Paton's like, I want to start Quinn Miners. I want to see Belly out there, and this paves the way to do that. And instead of having Glasgow be the backup right guard, and a very expensive one too, why don't I try to recoup some draft assets? After all, I gave up a bunch to get Russell Wilson. Here's the depth chart right now. We've seen this before, but you know what? It's the offseason. I like seeing names and faces in starting positions. So there's Miners. I think he's taking someone's job. Whether it's Reisner, Cush, or Glasgow, someone's losing their job to Belly, right? And if they feel Miners can start week 1 and they can get something for Graham, I mean, look at the draft capital that they have in 2023. As of right now, it's just 5 picks. I don't think you're going to get a ton for an older-ish. I mean, he's not too old. Wait, was he entering his 7th year in the league? Yeah, 7 sounds right. So, and honestly, tackles and guards tend to, like, that middle portion of their career tends to be when they play their best football. So, you can get a 4th-round pick for him. It's pretty tempting if you ask me, right? You only got 5 picks right now for the draft. This is a team that should be selling, but if you like Miners so much behind him on the depth chart, why have a very expensive backup guard? And that's what he would become when you can at least get something for the guy. Okay, that's kind of my train of thought for the idea of trading Glasgow. Now, Glasgow, I keep saying his name a couple ways, but whatever. If you guys are looking for daily free Broncos content and you want to join a growing country here on Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports, help us reach 9,000 subscribers by subscribing today. Join the show and get locked in for free content surrounding your team at Mile High. The next trade candidate for a post-June 1st trade, what about Malik Reed? So, Malik Reed, he signed that tender this offseason a couple months ago. He's got a base salary of $2.43 million in 2022. It's been an awesome story to see him, right, the UDFA from Nevada, become a sack leader one season for the Broncos. But now he's kind of being pushed down that looked really weird. Down the depth chart, okay? Knocked down the depth chart. That's going to be tough to recover from. Randy Gregory and Nick Bonito come over this offseason. You signed Gregory to that big contract. You drafted Bonito with your first selection in the 2022 NFL Draft. You have Bradley Chubb on the last year of his contract. Do you need Reed, right? Or could you try and get something for him? Marshall, my producer, is going to be laughing for the rest of the show. I can't believe I did that, actually. But let's play this game really quickly. Which player will have more sacks? Bradley Chubb, I'm not recreating that motion, or Randy Gregory? Put the jersey number down below, as I very cautiously point down below. No quick movements. Side note, Randy Gregory wearing 5. I'm never going to get used to this. That's not an outside linebacker number. Call me old-fashioned, but no, I don't like that. That's not what you wear, Randy Gregory, when you're a defensive end. That's what Joe Flacco wears, okay? So which player will have more sacks? Let me know down below in the comments section. Now, we can look more at the idea of trading Malik Reed as we can compare some stats or check out some stats on what he's done since joining the Broncos a couple of years ago. The guy led the team in sacks in 2020. Like, that is a Broncos trivia question that a couple of years from now, you'll be like, who led the team in sacks in 2020? I'm like, well, it wasn't Von Miller, right? It wasn't Bradley Chubb. Who was it that year? That was Malik Reed's year, okay? Again, similar to Glasgow, this would be a can you regain some draft capital type of move, right? This is not a selling team, but Malik Reed, he's too low on this team's depth chart, in my opinion, right? For a lot of teams, he'd be a starting outside linebacker, defensive end, edge rusher. If he's your 4th guy in the depth chart, right, Chubb, Gregory, and he's battling with Nick Bonito, but for my argument's sake, let's call him 4 because it fits my narrative better, maybe you can get something for the guy. There are a couple teams out there that need an edge rusher. The Baltimore Ravens, that's crack cocaine to them. They love getting after the quarterback. They will always take one. The Cowboys, how funny would it be after Dallas traded away Amari Cooper so they could allocate that money to Randy Gregory, and then they lost Gregory to the Broncos, and they ended up trading with the Broncos to get Malik Reed. Like, you're like, hey, we'll take Randy Gregory. Here's some, like, lint for my belly button. You can have that. He's better than belly button lint. The Packers, they lost Darius Smith, so maybe right there. That kind of makes some sense. Tampa Bay, JPP, he's not returning most likely, so that could fit in. And just the Rams, like, there is absolutely a red line Kremlin to the White House phone right now between Denver and LA because they've already made 2 trades the last year, Kenny Young and Von Miller. What's a third? So if you had to pick one to trade, we talked about Reed and we talked about Glasgow. Who would it be? Put the jersey number for the guy you would like to see traded more, 59 or 61. I would trade Glasgow over Reed just because Bradley Chubb and Randy Gregory, have they shown us that they can play a full season yet? Aside from Chubb's rookie season, no. So I'm not all that confident that they're going to be able to go out there and play all 17 games. There's a decent chance one of them needs a couple weeks off, and you're going to see a lot more Malik Reed. So I would err on the side of caution and go, you know what? Let's put Malik Reed in our back pocket. We might need him for a rainy day later on. Appreciate all of you guys that tuned into today's show. Hope you're all having a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you guys later with more Broncos news and rumors.